welcome one and all to this week's edition of the Chroma Team Roundtable. We have a very interesting one in store today as we watch BTC rip to new local highs. A nice $4,000 hourly candle. Always good to see. Always a good place to start this discussion on. So we're going to be talking today about the current state of the market. Obviously, BTC is bouncing after filling about 85-90% of the wick from 10th of October. The biggest liquidation event in crypto history. Lots of people were saying fill the wick and then we bounce. That's exactly what we're getting. We're also going to be talking about altcoins. Certain altcoins look absolutely terrible, but others look really, really good. Coins like BNB obviously putting in new highs. Coins like Pulse haven't even really got going yet, although a lot of people are saying that they are going to bottom soon. We're also going to be talking about the gold double top. Might have to go to Osbrah for that one. The gold double top and what this means for crypto. Will we see a rotation or is this an indication of weakness to come? Also going to be talking about the Binance versus Wintermute auto deleveraging drama, the ADL drama, and why Wintermute is saying that this is bad news potentially for market makers and liquidity. The future of crypto liquidity might have long-term ramifications. We will talk about that. And lastly, we're going to wrap up by talking about Kobe, our favorite crypto figure. I don't know, crypto celebrity, Kobe selling Echo to Coinbase for, I think, $375 million or $380 million, which is not a bad paycheck. The Coinbase also bought the Up-Only NFT for $25 million, which means that we will be getting one more season at least of Up-Only TV with Kobe and Ledger. But for now, let's talk about the market. Perdu, what are you looking at and how are you positioned for this BTC bounce?
Well, good afternoon, guys. Good evening. Good morning for some. I was literally discussing it this morning, how tired I became of this PA, to be honest. And I said that usually marks the local bottom for, basically the most energetic guy in the server that lost all hope, just like Crypto Joey. Got drained, but his energy got drained, and then I thought that should be a potential local bottom. How that reflects in the chart is what I will show you in a bit. Let me grab a chart here real quick. From a chart perspective, I've been telling everyone that ETH should hold 38.50 and BTC should hold 108.1, 108.5. And that's exactly what we held this morning, to be honest. So for me at the moment, this white box has been, we've seen many wicks below the level, but we always respected the level so far. And we're basically building this nice structure here. What we now see for the first time at the moment, no, not yet. I want to see this 12-hour RSI flip the 50 level to become really bullish on ETH, and I think we see like a mechanical bounce towards here to 4100. But if we start reclaiming 4100, I guess the bottom is officially in and we can start building longs again, like swing longs, not the crappy scalps we have been doing over the past few days. Where I round trip most of my gains over the past few days. So for now, it looks really good, to be honest. We are reclaiming the 112K area, which has been a pivotal level for BTC. So I think as long as we close the daily above 112K, longs are on the table again, and we can also potentially going into easy mode for altcoins. Like I said this afternoon, it was a very healthy sign that coins on the BTC ecosystem, like Light is a coin on the BTC ecosystem that was pumping already before BTC pumped. Portal to Bitcoin is also a BTC ecosystem that was also pumping. We saw BTR, which is also a coin in the Bitcoin ecosystem pump, while BTC was trading at the lows. So, and usually the market is giving you these small breadcrumbs where BTC is going. and I already said this in the crypto chat this morning, that it was really clear to me that some moves would happen today, as the whole BTC ecosystem already pumped, while BTC was going down, and that's usually a good sign and a good indicator for more upside on BTC, and that's exactly what we saw actually just yet. So I think it's really going crazy. This is usually how it works with these dips. You don't get any entries anymore. Within half an hour, we just pump 6K, then we stagnate, and then we die off again. It's such a weird cycle so far. But I think in Asia, when BTC starts consolidating around 112K, 113K, I think money will flow to alts again. So I will definitely give some calls on altcoins in a bit. I tried this Sapien long yesterday at 0.13 on this reclaim of the previous month low, and I'm pretty sure I will give this one again in a few minutes, because it's starting to look good again. Together with Avantis, we're already in this. This is looking good. We're now in profits on this one. So there are some altcoins that definitely look good, but you have to be really picky on them. So that's my take for now. And I think now we're reclaiming 112K. I think the bottom is officially in, and we start trending again instead of chopping around.
Thank you, Perdu. Osbrah, thoughts on BTC, thoughts on the market?
Yeah, thoughts on BTC. So I shared my view yesterday when BTC was at 111. I was expecting a dip to 107. So we got it. So far, so good. I think the price action on BTC is very clean. I'm going to share the chart right now. Perdu, can you turn off your stream, please?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate. So I'm going to share right now. All right. Can you see it? Is it good? Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So the price action, I think, is very clean. We filled, I don't know the exact percentage, but I think I saw 90% of the week of October 10. Then we reclaim. It's very clean, surprisingly. We reclaimed the 107. Then we had a nice bounce. I was expecting a sweep, to be honest, so we could retest that order block to have been a bit cleaner, in my opinion, but well, we'll take it. Now I think 111, 112 was a very important level. We're getting back inside the value area that you guys can see here. So the blue box, basically. So for me now, the most important will be to stay inside that value area. And then we can talk about, bottom being in, and then we can focus on 119, then obviously the range high. If we consider that this is the range low, then we could target the range high around like 123, and then maybe a new all-time high if we get good news on the geopolitics side. Obviously talking about Trump and Xi meeting happening next week. I think I'm not really sure about that, but anyway, it's been quite cool regarding the meeting with the Chinese leader regarding the tariff negotiations. So obviously, if we get a deal between the two superpowers, then we can definitely say the bottom is in. Market will probably send in one go, like it did today, but for like a couple of days. So yeah, for BTC, so far so good. I think we have a local bottom for now. Regarding altcoins, I'm a bit more cautious regarding alts. I'm looking at total tree, and it's not that great. We're holding 1 trillion of market cap for now, which is a very important level. Basically, it's our mid-range. We want to see altcoins holding. However, we can see that we are back inside that resistance. We cannot get away with it. Unfortunately, this is the 2021 cycle top once again. The most important will be to flip that level if we want to see altcoins going. So yeah, to summarize everything, I would say altcoins, you got to stay a bit cautious and do some cherry picking. I think Tao is a good bet because we have the halving narrative. We have Solana as well. ETH is catching up a little bit, but BTC remains the safest bet in my opinion, and it's quite bullish. So the plan hasn't changed. I still think we're gonna be bullish for this Q4 for the last 2 months of the year, November, December. As a reminder, it's not the topic, but just a small reminder. We have the Fed meeting, FOMC meeting the next week, and they are expected to cut the cut rate. So this is another bullish catalyst. So yeah, let's see. My view hasn't changed for the Q4. I still think we get a bullish price action overall and a trendy uptrend market. So that's my view on BTC, guys.
Thank you, Osbrah. Monk, thoughts on BTC, thoughts on the market in general?
Yeah, right. Maybe I would start by the macro side. Yesterday, I shared
You
something.
mute Monk if you're talking, just in
Unmute?
case.
No, I don't think so.
He's not. I can hear him. I think you might have him muted though.
Yeah, maybe you
Oh.
have muted me.
For a reason.
Great difference. So about the macro, I shared something on my corner, and it was about liquidity and US financial liquidity. And I think it's something that we have to remember, and even more what happened next week. It will not be only the cut rate. I think it's already a price, but the real question is when the Fed will change their strategy, and the Fed also may have to act and end the quantitative tightening and provide a new regional bank support, and also shift the focus from inflation to financial stability, and it will provide more liquidity to our industry. And so for when we have more liquidity on our market, it will go first on BTC, but then in altcoins. So I'm joining Perdu on his analysis on altcoin. We can have an easy mode on it, but we need to wait the confirmation from Powell, and if the Fed will change their strategy, maybe it will be this FOMC or maybe the next one for 2026. And I think this is a hot topic, and also because we have more optimism on the market with the shutdown coming to the end and the CPI on Thursday. It can just create more upside for BTC and also for all altcoins. About BTC that I share today, maybe I will share my screen also. Here on BTC, we were we talked about it during the pre-market brief, but we were targeting the liquidation cluster on 107 and 300. We didn't get the opportunity to trigger our entry, but we directly target the short liquidation cluster, and we just hit, guys. So now we will be focused more to get a new long on BTC. It will be on the value area low of the big composite volume profile around 110. It will depend of how the liquidity is moving and where the cluster will be in the coming days. As you can see here on Kingfisher, we have a massive still have the same 107, but it will move a little bit, maybe around 109, 108. But this one is the only one that stay on liquidation map, because we don't have anything more here. I will do an update also in 1 hour, 2 hours before, even tonight before the end of the US session, because it will help us to just have more confidences on BTC. And then we have a big boss also that I share at the beginning of the day. It's our quarterly VWAP that you have here. It's 115. So then in case we reclaim this level, it will be direct all-time high. It will be all-time high, our target. So then I'm still bullish, as I mentioned, since a couple of weeks for Q4, and you do already, Osbrah, you already talked about it, but macro will be most important for this end of the year. And for my general view on the market, you know that I'm more on BTC than on altcoins, but I think because of what's happened on the big flush on Friday, we have a couple of altcoins that we have to analyze in order to have easy long and target a big November. I really think or what's happened in October was black swan and also some manipulation from the market. But now we have more confirmation from micro side, and we will see also because Trump is always talking about big trade war in November, so we can still have surprise. But for now, we have our bottom, and we will see what's the reaction, how we reclaim this level, and we need to support the value halo of the big range. So step by step, but we will update and I will monitor this level right now in order to target the point of control, the big point of control, the quarterly VWAP and value high. So this is my short view on BTC and on the market.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for that, Monk. I want to go back to Perdu for a second. We briefly touched on alts. You mentioned a few alts that you were currently either looking at or trading. Do you have a kind of view on the alt market as we go into the final week and a half of October? I just want to touch on things like BTC dominance and how a few of these alts have looked pretty okay in the aftermath of the liquidation event we got 11 days ago. A few of them have looked not so okay. Obviously, we had, coins going to literal zero. We had coins going minus 85%. What coins have your attention now? What coins are you focusing on? Because I think now more than ever, you need to be very careful about where you allocate your capital and where you allocate your liquidity. So how are you navigating that as we enter the last 9-10 days of October, Perdu?
It's a very good question, Bosman. What we have been seeing is that we rotate a lot between altcoins, but the sectors I'm the most bullish on currently. Usually, historically, what you want to see is when BTC takes the lead, is that you can only long some isolated trends. And the trend I'm most bullish on at the moment are robotics, because every season you get like an AI narrative. We had Render, Fed, Ajax. It's super aggressive candle at the moment. You saw like AI agents last season. And I think in that category, the new flavor is going to be robotics. So tomorrow during the alpha stream, which we also have around this time tomorrow, I'm going to touch on some robotics projects I'm pretty bullish on. And one of them is Sapien. That's why I tried that long yesterday, and I'm actually building my long right now on this one. And we have a few coins that have their token generation event over the coming weeks. So yeah, robotics is going to be the next AI thing I'm the most bullish on. And we will tap into that in more detail tomorrow. Furthermore, like the move we saw with Zach, the privacy narrative has been, I'm not in this long, by the way, this is LARPing, so I'm going to remove this. The privacy narrative has been really strong at the moment. I saw Kobe mentioning it as well in his post this morning. So I'm pretty bullish on the older Dino coins like Zach, Zen, for example, is about to break out here. And I'm also still really bullish on BET, on this one. We tried this long yesterday as well, but unfortunately it didn't work out. I think now this is going to be a deviation below the low. But long story short, I'm bullish on robotics, Dino coins like BET, Zen, Zach, these type of things. And I'm also still very, very bullish on the stablecoin narrative. That's why I would like to have a long going on, for example, stable here. It also looks really good according to my system. We had the bullish 4-hour divergence into the lows here, which basically means for newcomers is when the price makes a new low, but the RSI makes a higher low. So that's what we saw into the lows here. We reclaimed the 4-hour EMA 13. We reclaimed the 50 level on the RSI. We broke out of the lower time frame trend line. And it's a hot narrative. So usually when the fundamental analysis and the technical analysis align for me, that's an A+ long. So stablecoin narrative, robotics, and Dino coins. That's it for me.
Stable coins, robotics, and Dino coins. I like that. An eclectic mix, but I think that's kind of indicative of the rotations that we've had this cycle. Do you see just in terms of like how those rotations are working, I know something you mentioned at the start of the stream was you were looking forward to maybe BTC reclaiming some key levels, and then swing longs would be back on the table in a way that they haven't really been in the last few weeks. Do you see the meta changing for for these narratives going forward? When you say like AI coins, robotics coins, Dino coins, are these still the rotations that we're having this cycle, where it's like you're in and out in a week or 2 weeks, you make your money and you move on? Or is this something that you see maybe sticking, especially if BTC can find a local low here?
Yeah, it's difficult to predict because this cycle has been so difficult to stick to narratives. I think it's a generation thing. I think the younger people that came into crypto and they see coins pumping on TikTok, for example, they have a really short attention span, and I think that is what is reflecting in the market nowadays. That these 20, 25, 30-year-old people, they have a really short attention span, and they're not really into the tech like we had in 2021, 2020, that you really believed in project that it's going to be the next big thing. I mean, 80% of the 2020, 2021 projects were all vaporware in the end, And I think that's the PTSD we have, that we don't want to get married to the bags anymore. So, and basically what I was saying as well is that these narratives, they'll come back every 3 or 4 months, but then in a different type of flavor. Like we had the AI narrative, then we had the AI agents, and on the follow-up, I think it's going to be robotics now. And that is the new flavor of this mini cycle that we're going to see.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember seeing. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Maybe someone can remind me in the chat. But he mentioned the robotics narrative last year. It was whoever's
Andrew Kang.
Andrew Kang. Yeah, exactly. Andrew Kang, who was also like, didn't he short a bunch of ETH at like 3.7K or something? He's probably either stopped out now or severely underwater. Interestingly enough, but yeah, I know. I know he was extremely bullish on that narrative next year or last year,
Yes.
mentioning that it was going to be the next big one. So good to see that we're on top of that. Sorry, go on.
He's never wrong. He's just early, probably.
just early, probably. Yeah, exactly. Osbrah, what altcoins have your attention here, if any, and how are you viewing the general altcoin market at the moment?
I front run the question a little bit just before when I started to talk. Nice edit, name player, by the way. Very nice edit. Quite scary though. However, so I think I'm not as relevant as Perdu talking about altcoin narratives, but I would stick with majors to be honest. With top 10, top 20. My favorite picks are still Solana. I think Joey is gonna be pleased, but I would stick with Solana because basically since 2022 lows, it has shown incredible strength and resilience compared to coins from the previous cycle, right? So I would say yes, Sol, if obviously, because once liquidity will flow into the market, Ethereum will have another run. I'm pretty sure about it. It will lead the altcoins market as usual until proven to work otherwise. And then Tao, obviously, for the end of the year, now halving in December, guys. So if you get pullbacks on Tao, I think it's a very good bet. And then I will also say AI. Why AI? I know it's not really original, but to have a bit more depth to what Perry said. Just a bit more. The USA are massively investing into AI. They're raising a lot of funds, and if you look at current rates, the Fed funds rate are still high. So it's very difficult to invest absurd amount of of money. So when the rates are going to be low, I think AI is going to attract even more capital, even more like liquidity, whatever it's for stock or crypto. And yeah, as original as it sounds, I think yeah, AI related tokens will be shining in the coming months. Beside that, yeah, I'm not really into meme coins. I don't really know about the stable narrative, but I would follow the alpha team for that. So yeah, to summarize everything, I would say major tokens, Solana, Link, etc., and then AI related tokens.
I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Touching on some similar narratives as Perdu did, so that's good to see. Monk, same question. What altcoins have your interest at the moment, if any, and what narratives are you watching as we enter the last 9-10 days of October?
Yeah, I think I will be quite same as Osbrah because I'm more focused on Bitcoin and I will join tomorrow the fundamental teams and the meeting. But yeah, I will be more focused more on altcoins that are profitables. I'm always checking the metric of a protocol with growing TVL and tokens that real utility. I always spend sometimes in DeFi Llama or this kind of tools in order to see which protocol is not with a real value. And even if we can have big narrative in AI and all this stuff, I don't put so much of my capital on it because I'm still shocked by what's happened last November and even 2 weeks ago, and the market can just flush very quickly. So I'm more in some tokens that I can find in different different decks or that are not on sex. I prefer to be on metrics and on TVL and which token can have a governance and can be used by the community. I share like 10 maybe 1 month ago a trade on FXN and I really like this token by all these metrics, even if we have low volatility and we have a big slippage when we are buying on curve. I think it's something very interesting in DeFi. And also, we have a big stablecoin world with huge APY. Maybe it can be interesting if people are more in stablecoin and want to diversify their spot by using this. But with all the new networks, with Base, with Monad, and all this stuff, we have some great incentive campaigns that enable to have 20-25%, even sometimes 50% of APY on stablecoins. So yeah, I will be more focused on metrics that looks interesting through DeFi Llama. So yeah, that's my takes.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that. Just something I want to touch on because we're talking about it in the chat. XPL Pulse. I honestly think this might be a dark horse in the same way that everyone had Pump written off just before it rallied 2 or 3x off the lows. I feel like Pulse is getting to that point now. It just fell out this morning. It just fell out of the top 10 tokens by 24-hour trading volume, a list that it had been in since TGE. I think that's usually what you want to see for these coins is you want to see a kind of a muted, slow rounding bottom in order to create a kind of a floor. I do think that this is one that could rally. A lot of the terrible price action we've seen so far was reckless selling and bad execution from pre-salers, much as we saw from the pump price action after their launch. But after a certain point, it does run out of sellers, and you find this kind of bottoming PA. Slightly different coin from Pump, and I think Pump always had the buyback narrative, the capital generation narrative. Osbrah, I'm going to mute your clackety clack keyboard. But I do think that coins like this do find their bottoms when everyone stops talking about them, and I think that is started at the moment. So yeah, interesting. I'll Oh yeah, Dipped has posted a chart there. I like that. I'll be posting some analysis about this coin later on in my chart, but we'll see. So moving on to the next topic of conversation, I want to briefly touch on the gold double top and what this means for crypto. So this is something that I'm not personally too up to speed with. I was looking at the gold chart just before we came on here. I did see the double top. That is very unsurprising to me, I guess, in one way, based on the and I should stress as well that this is a gold top on like the hourly. The higher time frame charts still look pretty great, but it is now down 5-6% from the highs here. Let me just share my screen really quickly. There we go. Nothing too crazy to look at here, but this is a pretty clear double top on the hourly. We saw it topped out here at around 4.3, 4.4, and is now dumped. Was like almost 7% at the apex of the move there, about 5.8% now. So, I mean, my question now, and my question to the analyst, but particularly to Osbrah, who I know is a bit of a gold whiz, is what this means for the crypto market. Are we going to see a rotation of capital from gold into digital gold, possibly into BTC, and then trickling down into alts? Or is this, early warning signs for crypto that we might be due for an even bigger sell-off than what we've seen over the last 2 weeks or so? I'm just wondering what your perception of this, when you see this, what do you think this means for Bitcoin and the wider crypto market?
Fortunately, the correlation between gold and Bitcoin is in our favor. I mean, as crypto traders and investors. So Bitcoin tends to lag a little bit compared to gold. So gold usually has a rally first, and then Bitcoin follows. I wouldn't say the crypto market tends to follow, but Bitcoin at least does. So let's see if it does the same thing this time. But so far it's been so good because gold started to dump and Bitcoin started to rally. So it's playing out once again. Regarding the dump, so you talked about that double top, but also on the daily, it's printing a nice candle. For the record, it's the biggest drop of the year since January. Basically, it's the biggest drop on gold. Same on silver, but I think for silver it's even the biggest drop since 2021. We had a few signs. So first, the mania around gold. So we saw the pictures of people queuing.
People queuing to buy
yeah,
physical bars of gold. That if that
exactly.
wasn't a top signal, then I don't know what was.
Yeah, exactly. So we had people queuing. Also, we had crypto trader talking a lot about gold, saying, "Yeah, crypto is bad. We should all just stick to gold. It's the only thing that is relying. Bitcoin is not a digital gold. The only gold is gold, basically." And the other thing is, we talked about it during the Chroma meetup. We had news about China discovering a huge gold deposit, right? And it happened on Sunday, I think, Saturday or Sunday, and then no surprise, gold is dumping, because basically it means that if they find like a huge deposit, then it will be less scarce. So if it's less scarce, obviously you have less demand, and the price then correct. So that was for the explanation of why it's dumping. And also, for your information, guys, it was an institutional gold run. No, scores, not scarves. What is
I know.
scarves? What is scarf? Did I say scarf?
I'm trolling your beautiful French accent, Osbrah.
Oh, again, I'm used to it. So less scarce means obviously less demand, and then price dumping. What was I saying? I was saying it was a scarcity. Yeah, it was an institutional run. So retail was not part of the gold run, of the massive gold run. So obviously, after the big players accumulated gold, to see that like retail are queuing, it was I don't like to say it was obvious, but you had like high probabilities to see the price nuking. So let's see how it goes. But obviously, if we get a deal between US and China, and then don't forget about it, between US and Russia to end the war in Ukraine, then obviously the gold price will continue to pull back.
I love that. Thank you, Osbrah. Monk, going to go over to you for any additional thoughts on that. I'm not sure. Are you a gold trader? I'm not sure if I've ever seen you trade it.
No, never. I'm not in
Okay.
commodities. So yeah, maybe Perdu or
Well, I know Perdu is. I don't think he is a gold trader, so I think we can Perdu, right?
Oh, no. I
That's
only
right.
saw the big lines, and then I thought it would be fun if this is the top for gold. And also there was a really nice metric where we hit the stone cold bottom for the gold versus BTC ratio, which was last seen before the big bull run in 2021 on BTC. So I'm really curious if that's going to be the leading indicator once again. I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to post it in the channel in a bit. It's really interesting to see.
That's okay. That's super interesting. Yeah, I'd be very keen to see that piece of research. That's awesome. So I am going to move on to the next topic of conversation, which is this ongoing Binance Wintermute auto deleveraging drama. So this is something I touched on my channel, but to give you guys a brief overview, basically on 10/10, on the 10th of October liquidation event. For those who are unaware, obviously it was the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, but a lot of traders' positions on major exchanges were closed early, effectively, through this process of ADL, auto deleveraging. It's a risk management tool, effectively. When margin falls below a certain level, positions are going to be closed by the exchange running those positions. So if the exchange's liquidation engine is unable to liquidate a trader's position due to insufficient liquidity, I mean, that's the crux of it, the system will automatically deleverage those positions until they get the necessary liquidity. So it's effectively a liquidity crunch that forces exchanges to reduce the leverage for these ongoing positions. The traders with the biggest leverage, the highest leverage, and the biggest P&L will be closed first, because they are obviously the guys crunching the liquidity the most. So where does that kind of lead us to the drama? The drama is Wintermute have now claimed that they lost huge amounts of money due to Binance automatically deleveraging their positions. For those who don't know, market makers like Wintermute, a lot of the money that they make, or the vast majority of money that they make, is by running delta neutral strategies. So effectively, they buy spot of a coin, and simultaneously they short the perp contract of that coin, and then they collect funding fees and arbitrage fees in some cases, but they don't necessarily make money by buying and selling the asset in question. They run a delta neutral strat that allows them then to focus on making money in other places. But what happened is that a lot of Wintermute's short positions, because the auto deleveraging kicked in, they got closed, or they got deleveraged to the point where they were forced to be closed, and Wintermute couldn't open new shorts fast enough. And then they pulled liquidity. So that's actually one of the reasons that the market nuked 2 weeks ago, is because Wintermute get these notifications across their trading desk that all of their short positions are closing. So now they are net long. And when I say net long, I mean they had huge exposure on the long side. Market is tumbling. So then their risk managers say, okay, time to close everything until we figure out what the fuck is going on. They closed all their positions. They pulled all their liquidity. And that's why you had coins like Atom going to literal zero. So I'm just wondering, does anyone, this is an open question to the panel. I touched on it a little bit in my channel. I just said that this kind of leaves us in an uncertain situation when it comes to liquidity going forward. The biggest market maker for the biggest exchange has come out and said that they no longer feel safe running these delta neutral strategies anymore, because they might get auto deleveraged and they might take a huge hit like they did. And there's the big question mark now as to whether and to what extent they will get compensated for these losses. So when you have the biggest market maker on the biggest exchange saying, "Well, we don't feel too good about offering liquidity on these exchanges anymore," kind of leaves us in an uncertain situation. More of an issue for altcoins than anything else, but oh, Perdu's checked out already. Take it easy, Perdu. I'm curious, Monk, Osbrah, do either of you have a take on this, what this means for crypto liquidity going forward, and maybe your thoughts on ADL in general?
Yeah, I can start on ADL. It's something that I work a lot on it, and just to say a few words on it, I know in the retail side it can be viewed negatively by traders, but ADL in major place play a key role in protecting the platform integrity, user funds, and overall market health. And also you have different risk management tools like insurance funds, ADL, liquidation threshold, and all these things is just created by the platform in order that everything can go well, even if sometimes it's also, and we can say it's just create some misunderstanding by all the traders. And about market makers, I think it can create some gap of liquidity, but they will find a solution because there are a ton of market makers that want to make money with this delta neutral strategy. So overall, I'm not very I don't feel very afraid about these situations. And I think in the couple of years, there are a ton of market makers that just came in the market and tried to be more and more competitive. So at the end, they will find a solution, and they will attract more and more market maker by new campaigns. And yeah, I don't think it's a big issue for this kind of platforms.
Okay, interesting. Osbrah, do you have anything to add to that?
On ADL part, not really. However, on altcoins, to be very quick, obviously it will cause liquidity issues like less liquidity. It's also a concern, in my opinion, but like as you said, the biggest market maker doesn't feel safe on the biggest platform. It's really a concern. I think it can be a short-term like FUD event regarding the crypto industry. Like we might see some headlines saying, yeah, the crypto is not safe. Look, even Wintermute doesn't feel safe, even though it's on Binance or whatever. But I think it's just going to be short term. But yeah, it causes issues regarding altcoins, and this is what we said during the last roundtable. For now, we don't have a lot of liquidity flowing into altcoins. So obviously, if you on top of it you remove Wintermute, then it will be even more illiquid and more prone to be manipulated, right? And to cause like maybe not to the same extent, but it could cause like other similar events like what happened on Friday, October 10. So you got to be very, very cautious when you're trading altcoins. This is also what we said at the beginning of that roundtable, saying you got to be cherry picking altcoins and trying to stick with either the majors or the ones that are like attractive and getting a lot of liquidity flowing into them. So yeah, just keep that in mind until we get obviously when we're gonna have the rates at 1 or 2% at neutral state, like Powell likes to say, liquidity will flow, so it is gonna be less of an issue. But for now, yeah, it's still like a risky, in my opinion, trying to get involved into all altcoins, trying to get all the to long all the small caps, thinking that you might get like crazy returns like we had in 2020, 2021. So just be careful with that, guys, and yeah, stick to stick to what Perdu said, like attractive altcoins or to what Monk and I are doing, and just stick to majors.
Maybe just to add something that what you said, that if we have poor liquidity on the market, it will just create tougher rules from the team, from exchange, because they will just had more liquidation thresholds, they will add more ADL. It will be just tougher to make more money on poor liquidity tokens. So at the end, it will just change the rules, and that's why it will be maybe better to be focused on exchange and maybe more on tokens that have great liquidity in order to don't be trapped by the rules of the exchange. And I think he would just change the risk management tools from the team. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and also I would like just to bounce on the Prof. Liloman comment about Wintermute. Is Wintermute going to pack it up and go home? I don't think so. It's your comment is very relevant. I think we're gonna negotiate because Binance need market makers. As big as they are, they need market makers. All exchanges basically they need liquidity providers and market makers. So yeah, they might have tough discussions regarding the deals that they currently have. We're probably gonna renegotiate the conditions of these deals. Binance might play hardball because the biggest one, but I think Wintermute might find better deals with other exchanges if it happens. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's just a short-term issue, and that is going to be solved before everything runs again.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just to add to that, I think, you hit the nail on the head there. Stick to the strong narratives. If this cycle has taught us anything, it's that you can't just blindly long random altcoins and hope to make a killing. You need to stick to the strong narratives, stick to the strong coins, follow strength rather than longing weakness and hoping that the market is going to bail you out by playing catch up, because that it really has been a coin flip more than ever these last few years. Jedi, welcome. I see you have graced us with your presence, which I'm always happy to see. I want to rewind a little bit and go back to a topic that we were speaking about maybe 10 minutes before you joined, which is this gold double top and what that means for crypto. We were talking about maybe potential capital rotations from gold into digital gold. We were saying this top was obvious. Anyone with any kind of trading experience or experience in the markets based on the IRL euphoria we saw. We had queues going around the block in cities around the world for people to buy physical bars of gold. And if that isn't a top signal, I don't know what is. So how are you viewing this, and what do you think this means for crypto going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bullish side of me would like to believe that there will be a rotation from gold, particularly into the crypto market. But I'm also a little bit skeptical, maybe kind of like twice, like just way too many times bitten, and now a little bit shy around, whether we do see that flow. I think if there ever was a case for it, I think this would be it. I mean, $4,300 an ounce gold is insane. I mean, it's, even though it did take like 100 years to get here, it's obviously, I mean, this is a double top. The bullish side of me says yes, but then I am still skeptical and kind of like saying we haven't really had much play to our favor, the last kind of like 18 months. I mean, unless, of course, you were invested primarily in Bitcoin, then I think there isn't really much room to complain. But I think in terms of us hunting alts and, trying to find those really big gains, we haven't really been rewarded. So I'm going to be skeptical about it. And in the event that we do see a rotation, I don't see people rotating into stuff like ETH and Solana and your random shitcoin. I think the only one that's going to really benefit from that is Bitcoin. So if you don't own Bitcoin and you kind of like still on the fence on it, I think maybe you need to start considering that being a part of your portfolio. I mean, I'm not advocating that you buy, now. For all we know, we might be at the top. I don't think we are. I think we've still got another leg. And I'm hoping that leg does come from a gold rotation. the jury's still out. I think just coming to kind of like the second part of this discussion is, market makers and what happened on the 10th. I think we're really only going to find out what happened on the 10th of October in the coming weeks and months. And I think it's going to be a lot more serious, even though we already know that it's serious. I think it's a lot more serious than we ever anticipated. I mean, I know that news came out today that there was a small market maker that literally lost his entire bankroll on Binance. It was $4 million, and for him or for them, it was a lot. And I think there's many such examples. And I mean, even with the major narratives at the moment, I mean, look at something like Zcash. Zcash, even though it's doing serious volumes, there's still serious liquidity missing in that coin itself, because there never has been really a dedicated market maker for Zcash. You go and trade that coin, someone sells 250 coins, the price really does take a knock. I mean, we were chatting about it in channel earlier on, and even the narratives, even the stronger coins, there's still a lot of liquidity missing. And I don't think that bodes well, even on a rotation to altcoins. I think right now it's all about ETH and Solana and the really big boys that have real liquidity, and everything else. You really are taking a lot of slippage, and when someone sells on the way up, you are going to see big price changes, which I'm not enjoying at the moment. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fucking hating it.
Appreciate that, Jedi. And then I guess we can probably wrap this up by moving on to not the last topic, but we were just talking about Binance and Wintermute and the ADL drama. I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that? The conversation is ongoing in the chat. We're talking about who needs who more, Binance or Wintermute, and maybe Binance could look elsewhere for market making. Maybe Wintermute could look elsewhere for exchanges that they make markets on. Do you have any thoughts on this? I know that this has been a kind of a topic. This has been a pretty burning topic in the market over the last week or so.
So I think from my perspective, the answer to that question is to actually direct or point your finger towards decentralized exchanges and what happens on decentralized exchanges that don't necessarily have market makers. And how does that actually play out? And then how does a decentralized exchange have its place in the market without having market makers? And we've had many cycles, like the last 2 cycles. We didn't have a huge presence of market makers, but we still saw price discovery. We saw all those good things. And I think there's a case to be made for on-chain activity in terms of liquidity pools, liquidity provision, yields, and their place in this entire thing. I know that I'm not answering your question directly, and I will get to it, but I think what's really relevant is that we have an environment that doesn't need market makers. Why is it that Coinbase paid $350 or $375 million for a product? They paid that not because they couldn't go and build it for $1 million. They paid it because there's a network effect there. That network effect has tremendous value. How much money do you think something like Uniswap is actually worth if it actually gets put to its full potential and its full use? We don't need fucking market makers. What we need is we need a place where liquidity can be accountable in one place, where we don't have fragmented liquidity. We need proper fucking projects that people can actually believe in once again. And then we can bet and actually go to fucking sleep and not have to take profits every 32 seconds. That's what needs to happen in this industry. Until we arrive at that point, we're going to be sitting here wondering about how significant Wintermute is. Fuck Wintermute and fuck all these guys who want to actually hold exchanges and us hostage, because if they're not there, we can't actually trade. But we can trade. Can go and trade on dexes, can go and trade away from all these fucking guys that are taking advantage of us. And that's the way that I think we need to think about this, as opposed to relying on Binance or Wintermute or any of those kind of players. We need to be relying on one another. And I think that's where the future lies in this industry. And that's the reason why we're seeing these guys paying a shitload of money to be on chain and to actually participate in an environment that advocates that. Sorry for the sermon and the rant, but that's genuinely how I feel about it.
No, I
And
love
maybe,
that. I love. Sorry, go on, Monk.
yeah, maybe a quite debate about what said Jedi, but I think market maker, even if I know that you know, but market maker are super important for the market to keep alive, even if there are, we can say and we can understand that sometimes there are um, they have a big advantage on the market, but they are providing liquidity and they can fill the book and whatever. I will not do all the list, but I think we need more healthy market maker for the market on centralized exchange, but also on chain because they have also a big impact when we are talking about funding rates, when we are talking about the efficiency of the market, and because I track every day what they are doing, they have a big impact and a big responsibility about what's happened last Friday during the big flush. But I don't think they are bad actors. They are actors that need to be in a better way, but they are so important for the market in some point. So maybe I don't want to create like a big debate, but I think they are very important as institutional liquidity provider and all this stuff. So yeah, it's because during the beginning of my trading journey, I was like, "Oh, I'm against trader market makers. They're doing bad activity on the market." But at the end, they are very important when we see the inefficiency of the market, and even when we are talking with traditional actors, we can see that the efficiency and what we have on traditional finance is more mature compared of what we have in crypto. So yeah, it was just my point of view.
Yeah, I think Joey makes a good point in the chat there, which is that trust takes years to build and only seconds to break. And I do think that that's a very valid point, right? It's when you think about TradFi involvement, institutions, ETFs, DATs, whatever they are, a lot of those guys are going to be really concerned about what happened last week, because it wasn't just a normal crash. It wasn't just a normal liquidation cascade. It was the main market maker on the biggest exchange pulling liquidity so that certain
Yeah.
alts went minus 99%. Like, how do you go back to investors? How do you go back to the guys with real capital and real stakes in the market and say, oh, yeah, there's this asset class that you can invest in. Sometimes it literally goes to zero, but the upside is pretty good as well, right? You, you know, you
Right.
can't, you can't sell that to anyone with anyone serious. Like, the only people who are going to go for that are degens, right? And I think that
Yeah.
is it's a move in the wrong direction in many ways. In many ways, it's a move in the right direction, but in many ways, it's a move away from this model of sustainable long-term trading that a lot of coins are trying to angle towards. Because you can't. I mean, investors aren't going to be happy with that asset class, right? They're not going to want to put money into that asset class.
Yeah. I think it's there is an importance here for market makers, and I do agree with Monk on that regard. So I'll just rephrase what it is that I was trying to say earlier on, is that there needs to be accountability, which you've so eloquently presented to us now, is that there needs to be accountability. The whole regulatory side of things is only going to land up being a good thing, because at the moment for fuck's sakes, we've called this the crime cycle. I mean, is that really like honestly, like if we are honest with one another and we look at ourselves in the mirror, is that really what it is that we want to advocate in this industry? I don't want to be a part of fucking a crime cycle. I mean, what is that? So how do we get to a point where there is accountability for a market maker pulling liquidity, where there is accountability for a Binance who does insane amounts of volume on a daily basis and on an annual basis, yet there's no accountability around the kind of shit that they pulled on the 10th of October. Those guys need to fucking go to prison. Whether it's a market maker, whether it's the exchange, there needs to be penalties and there needs to be accountability for that kind of behavior. That's where we need to get to. And unfortunately, we're not at that point. And that's the reason why I'm advocating for decentralized finance on chain. Come bring your bullshit here and we'll bury you in the shallow grave. You can't do that shit on chain because it's contracts. Yes, we have issues with hacks and the rest of it, but the shit works. Uniswap has been working flawlessly for the last fucking 8 years. It's bulletproof. Are they bulletproof? That's what we need to be kind of like singing the praises of, not fucking Binance and Wintermute when they just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, guys, it's 5 past now, so I just want to wrap things up. Last 3 or 4 minutes, and I just want to touch on the final topic for today, which is Kobe selling Echo to Coinbase for 375 million and the return of Up Only. This is an open question to the panel. Does anyone have any hot takes on this? I mean, from my perspective, you guys might remember, anyone who was around in 2021 will remember that Up Only TV, which was the podcast that Kobe and Ledger ran. It was synonymous with the good times. It was 2021. Everything was running. We had a crazy alt season. People were making money hand over foot. And Up Only TV was on every week, and people were talking about the market. We were getting these crazy interviews with huge volume traders, with builders, with founders. And yeah, it was great. And I think that them coming back at this moment is interesting after we've had the biggest ever crypto liquidation event in history. But yeah, as it is now transpired, Coinbase bought the NFT that signals that means that Up Only needs to return for 25 million. But they also bought Kobe's his business, his company, which is the Echo.xyz, is it, or something like that, which is a vehicle for connecting startups in crypto with potential seed investors. So I'm wondering, I mean, Jedi, you said yes there. Do you have an opinion on this? Do you have a hot take on this besides wishing Kobe well on his $300 and something million landfall?
So the funny thing is that Kobe actually wrote a long post on Twitter around how he isn't a billionaire. Like, even though he's been around for the last 10 years, he's not a billionaire, and it's really hard to make $1 billion. And then obviously shortly thereafter, day after that, the NFT was sold. So for those of you who don't know, people kept on asking Kobe for another Up Only series or another Up Only bunch of episodes, and he eventually got tired of it, and he said, you know what, fuck you guys, I just put up an NFT for 10,000 ETH. If anyone wants to get us back on the show, go and buy the NFT, and these are the conditions with which you can have this show back. Echo is, funny enough, only earning $1.5 million in revenue every year, just for those of you who don't know. And it's essentially a vehicle for protocols, projects who want to raise money, and it basically gives you and I the opportunity as individuals to be seed investors in these projects. So it's a great idea. I mean, Kobe pretty much built this thing on his own. But here's where the network effect comes in, and why I like this deal so much is that even though I think it is overvalued, I think what it does signal is that decentralized finance and the ability for individuals to have kind of like an autonomous presence within the space is something that people are starting to take note of. So whether it's a decentralized exchange, a perps exchange, or whether it's your identity being kept private and privacy as well, I think is going to be a big part of this equation. There's tremendous value in that. So I think that's
Did Jedi freeze for anyone else?
businesses.
Oh, there, he's back.
Did you lose me? Sorry.
You froze for kind of the last 5 seconds there, but we pretty much got everything.
Cool. I'll shut up now.
Your insights are always appreciated, Jedi. Always. Hopefully
Thanks,
we'll get
dude.
you on. Hopefully we'll get you on for the full hour next time. So yeah, Osbrah and Monk, do you have anything to wrap us up there with the conversation? You've any hot takes or additional points to guide us home?
I think Jedi said everything about this topic, but yeah, just Coinbase just made a massive bet, and it will be again big players, and I'm really excited about their blockchain and their tokens because they're talking about it in September or end of August. So they want to be the major actor of blockchain, DeFi, CeFi, and they're going to be on the table. So yeah, they are there, and this is for me. Thanks.
Osbrah?
Nothing to add. Like a massive bet, as Monk said, from Coinbase. Congrats to Kobe. NFTs are not really my cup of tea. So let's stick to what Jedi said about it. I think he explained everything very well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
The funny thing,
sorry, go on.
The funny thing is that I'm in a chat with him on Telegram, and he asked the question this morning. So is 400 million enough to retire?
Good for Kobe. Good for Kobe. Yeah.
Good for Kobe.
I mean, it is funny that he did make that very long post like 5 days ago about how he doesn't have $1 billion, and then today he all but confirmed that he is a billionaire now. But yeah, good for him. I actually think he is one of the good guys of the space. So happy to see guys like that succeed. And on that note, guys, we are going to call it there. Thank you very much to everyone who joined to listen to us today. Appreciate you giving up your time to listen to us talk about the charts and talk about the markets. It is always appreciated. I also have a massive appreciation for my panelists, smart panelists, Jedi, Monk, Osbrah, and of course Perdu. Thank you very much for taking your time to give your takes on the market and the charts, and we will be back next week for more. As you guys know, we've kind of had lots of events and traveling and moving around for the last month or so between Token and Korea Blockchain and the Chroma event just this weekend. But we are, well, from my point of view, I'm a little bit more stabilized now for the next couple of months, so ready to lock in with you guys. Appreciate all the patience that you've shown over the last few weeks. But yeah, we're back to it, boys. We're back to the grind. We're ready to lock in, and I hope you're ready too. Market's looking good. Market's looking exciting. Going to be a lot of fun trading over the next few weeks. All right, take it easy, boys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the chats. Bye-bye.